You know something about the graduation project, and there's 4 parts: a research paper, an internship for 15 hours, a presentation, and you need a portfolio or a notebook that proves, demonstrates, and shows the judges all the evidence that you need for your graduation project that you did for your 15 hours. So, here's a sample notebook portfolio. This student chose to do an internship where she went to the Biltmore Estate up in Asheville, and she shadowed and worked with a pastry chef. So when you give a presentation, you have to present a portfolio to the panel of judges that proves what all you did, and there's certain documents that go in there. And I want to show you what one looks like, because when you start your 15 hours, whether it's during the school year or over the summer, you will need to start gathering evidence to go into this notebook. So on the cover of your notebook, at some point in time, you'll make a cover with your name, your topic, and where you did your internship. Now let's go into the notebook. Okay, the first thing that we encourage every student to do when they start working on or contemplating their 15 hours, we want them to get some sort of journal or notebook to keep, like a Dear Diary. And I know, guys, you might think that's kind of, girly or whatever, but what happens is when you start taking notes in your diary, your journal, let's say you started your sophomore year, and then maybe it's not until your junior year until you give a presentation. Well, how are you going to remember all the nitty-gritty details of what you did during your sophomore year, a whole year from when you give your presentation? We want you to keep a journal so that you can refer to it to help you write your speech. So for example, this student has an entry, and she has it dated 9/20/08, and she has a journal entry called Meeting the Mentor, and she writes in detail about meeting her mentor at the Biltmore Estate. It says, "This is the first day that I got to meet my mentor. I wonder what we're going to do today. Then once we get to the Biltmore Estate, we meet up with my mentor, Heather Gonzalez. First, I tell her about the things about my senior project, what it's about, and what I would like to accomplish." You need to take this type of specific information. So you might want to take a journal with you to meet with your mentor, or every time you work on your project, you want to have a notebook nearby so you can jot down information during or either afterwards, so that everything that happened is in your brain and you won't forget it, and you put it down on paper. So she has a journal. And then she even does some sketches in her journal. Your journal is for you. You can doodle in it, you can draw, you can ask questions to yourself, you can write about problems you're having with your internship, plans you're going to make, because this journal is to help you with your presentation, which might be a year from now, 2 years from now. And every time she makes a journal entry, she puts a date, because you will need dates when you give your presentation. So as you can see, this student, she has a journal entry called Problems. Now she had to drive 45 minutes each way. I don't know if that's something she wrote about in here. Maybe she was having trouble bonding, or some sort of personality conflict with her mentor, or maybe it was just a problem of she's not good at decorating cakes or whatever she did. So whatever problems she had, she made a journal entry. Then she has a journal entry about some aspect. She finished my first art piece, and she has it dated. So she goes throughout her journal using it as documentation of what she did, and writing all of her thoughts, what she saw, what her mentor said. You may also you should interview your mentor and anyone else that you meet that's an expert or can give information on your research paper or on your internship. You can put those in here. You can staple them in here. You can add them. And then she wrote about the experience of bringing a cake to class. So it goes from beginning to end. So you want a nice, well-developed notebook. Okay, the second thing that we come across in this notebook is the first page that the judges are going to read is called a letter to the judges. You will type one of those up. Your English teacher or some other teacher, or at some point you can go to the Moodle site and there's samples of these, but you will have a judge's letter. Then you will put your research paper in your notebook. And here she has her research paper, and this one is by MLA format, and she followed her English teacher's suggestions. There are the pages of her notebook paper. Notice it's 12 font, double space, 1-inch margins, MLA format. And she also includes her works cited page for her research paper. Now, you're going to have probably 5, 6, 7 forms to fill out for your graduation project, all the way from your mentor papers to parent consent forms. You have to sign a couple of papers. Your mentor will give you a grade. All those forms will also go in this portfolio, and this student has them in here. Also, a requirement of the portfolio is to make a minimum of 3 formal journal entries. One at the beginning, one as you've progressed, and one at the very end. And they should be typed up and edited and proofread, and they will go into towards the back of your notebook. And this student has all those, and we proofread and edited them and made sure that everything was a good writing style. So when the judges read it, they're not stopping for careless errors. Also in your notebook, this student put extensive photographs in the back of her notebook for her, the community judges to see. Now, you should take photographs of you working on your internship or your project during the process. These are extra pictures that she decided not to use in her PowerPoint, but she put them in the notebook to further prove to the judges that this is what she worked on and this is where she went. And as you can see, she's got, she didn't bring this, like this particular piece of this chocolate cake. A lot of things she could not bring in to show the judges, so she took pictures of them. And these are some of the supplies that she made, materials that she used. So when the community judges come in and look at this notebook and read the research paper, the student is already starting to educate the judge about what's going on with the graduation project. And this portfolio is 1/4 of your overall graduation project grade. So it's very important to have a complete one, and also to document everything, because when this student wrote her speech, she used the evidence and the pictures and the journal entries and her diary. She used all this to help write her 8 to 10 minute presentation that she had to give the judges. Okay, that's good.